Hey, how's it going? I'm Sarah Larson and this is 3 News. Coming up tonight, support for France after terrorist attacks in Paris. Hands-on science for students in Canberra. And Father Christmas, welcome to Adelaide in style. But first today, people from all over the world have shown their support for France after deadly terrorist attacks over the weekend. In Paris, French leaders have declared 3 days of mourning, while world leaders say they'll work together to fight terrorism. Here's Emma.
In Sydney, London, Rio de Janeiro and many other cities around the world, people showed their support for France. Today there was a special service in the Notre Dame Cathedral to pay tribute to more than 120 people who were killed in Friday night's terrorist attacks in Paris. The extremist group ISIS has admitted to being behind the attacks, as well as another one in Lebanon, and France has responded by destroying ISIS bases in Syria. Australia's Prime Minister has offered his support to France. He's working with other countries to stop terrorism, but he says there's no reason for people here to be afraid.
We have every reason to be assured that our nation is safe. We will always be alert to threats as they develop. But we can be assured that our police, our security services, are working hard to keep us safe.
In Paris, locals are banding together to support each other.
When we be up tomorrow, we have to be united, and we are scared to be divided. So we are all here today because we want to be united.
They say they're determined not to let the attacks change their way of life in the city that they love.
Now, of course, seeing stories like this on the news can be pretty upsetting for all of us. So today in the studio, I've got Bill here, who's a counsellor. Thanks for being with us, Bill.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Now, have you got any advice for kids who might be sad or worried about what they've seen happen in France on the weekend? Yeah,
I do. I think the number one thing is to give yourself permission to walk away from the news or turn the TV off if you're on your own, because our brains can only handle so much of this. If you've got little brothers or sisters, remind them, make sure they know that it only happened once, because we see it over and over again. And sometimes they think it's happening over and over again.
Yeah, and they're safe, aren't they?
They are. We're in a very different country in Australia. We're on the other side of the world, so we're a long way away from where it happened. But if they are worried, it's perhaps important to talk to a grown-up. If they've got any questions, ask a grown-up about what they think. Eventually, young people start to make up their own mind about how they feel about this.
And is there anything positive that we can focus on coming out of such a horrible thing? Yeah,
there is. Awful things that happen like this sometimes remind us that people are really kind. And what I mean is not what happened isn't kind, but the way people start to care for each other after these types of things. There'll be all sorts of stories on the news of kindness and people taking care of one another. And that's a reminder that human beings, even though sometimes humans do awful things, we're not too bad after all.
No, that's a good thing to remember. Thank you so much for being with us, Bill.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Meanwhile, Russia has been suspended from taking part in international athletics competitions, including the Olympics. Last week, a big report came out saying Russian athletes had been cheating using drugs, and some Russian officials had been helping to cover it up. On Friday, the International Association of Athletics Federations, or IAAF, decided to temporarily ban the country from international athletics comps. It says if Russia wants to take part in the Rio Olympics, it'll have to show that it's cleaning up its act. Prince Charles and his wife Camilla have wrapped up their 6-day tour of Australia. The royal couple left Perth on Sunday after attending a church service and spending some time meeting locals.
I said, "Hello, Camilla, how are you?" And she said, "Very well and very nice to meet you." And I said, "You too." And she's got lovely soft skin.
It's been an exciting weekend for Prince Charles. He celebrated his 67th birthday in Perth on Saturday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
It was the future king's 16th visit down under. Well, now to Canberra, where some school students have been taking part in a program aimed at getting more kids into science. They've been teamed up with professionals to create some pretty amazing projects and get a taste of what a scientific career is all about. Here's Eloise.
At this high school, science lessons have gone to the next level. In instead of learning from textbooks, these students have been learning straight from some of Australia's best scientists. Their teacher has teamed them up with experts from universities who come and join the class or take them to see their work in the labs.
This science experience is a lot more interactive, so you actually get to do hands-on learning and explore what you're interested in, not just do the classes, I suppose, and then assignments and tests.
Maddie worked with a professional physicist on her major project about optics and the science of light.
What the system does, it enables you to see different densities in the air, such as heat from a candle.
The idea behind the program was to get more young Aussies excited about science. Some experts are worried that not enough students are choosing to study subjects like engineering, physics and chemistry when they leave school. So Mr. McNamara wanted to show his class just how exciting science can be.
The reason why scientists do what they do is because they love it, they're passionate about it, and you can't convey that love of learning in any other way than connecting the scientists and the students together.
And it seems to be working.
I didn't really like science at all in Year 7, and then I came into the ACE program and I learned to love it just because I could see the opportunities for me.
For many of these guys, it could be the start of a shining career.
Well, scientists think they might have found ice volcanoes on the surface of Pluto. They've been sifting through pictures from the New Horizons spacecraft, which passed by the dwarf planet in July. They think that the dark patch you can see in the middle of this one is the crater of an active cryovolcano. Instead of spewing out lava, they erupt with a mixture of water ice and frozen nitrogen, ammonia and methane. They're not sure yet, but if there are ice volcanoes on Pluto, it'll change scientists' understanding of what's going on inside the dwarf planet. Police in the US city of Philadelphia were led on a wild zebra chase on the weekend. 2 zebras escaped from a circus and went for a run through the city, dodging traffic and even running through a zebra crossing. Police eventually managed to catch the stripy escapees and bring them back home. And in Adelaide, the streets were filled with all sorts of crazy creatures on Saturday. The city held its annual Christmas pageant and thousands of people came to watch. Some of them got up extra early for a good view.
And we got here at 5, but there was a lot of people already on the road.
The pageant's been going since 1933, and it's actually the biggest event of its kind in the world, with 63 floats plus clowns and bands, and of course, Father Christmas. Let's check out what's happening in sport now. Here's Charlotte.
New Zealand's made a massive comeback in the second test at the Wacker. Ross Taylor made cricket history by scoring New Zealand's highest ever score against Australia after smashing a double century for the Kiwis. Aussie fast bowler Mitch Starc also made history by bowling the fastest ever ball in Test cricket. It clocked in at a massive 160.4 k's per hour.
It's nice to have a nice run up in and nice to jump up to the square and have a nice breeze. It was all sort of working nicely for the left armers this end, so just nice to have some rhythm and have the ball coming out nicely, and unfortunately couldn't get a couple of wickets to go with it.
To the A-League, and Brisbane Roar have moved to the top of the ladder after their win against Perth Glory. Brazilian forward Enrique was the only goal scorer with this shot in the 74th minute. Queensland teenager Alyssa Azar is in training to climb Mount Everest. The 18-year-old has already tried twice to become the youngest Aussie to reach the summit, but she hasn't been able to because of a deadly avalanche and this year's earthquake in Nepal. Alyssa says she's determined to try again.
You know, the fact is I love what I do, and to be honest, I'm not scared to go back. It's what I love to do.
She says it'll take her 20 weeks to get ready for her next attempt. And David Beckham got together with a bunch of his famous friends on the weekend to play a massive soccer match for children in need. It was to mark his 10th anniversary of being an ambassador for UNICEF. And even though it featured some of the world's biggest soccer names, the biggest cheers were for Beckham's 16-year-old son, Brooklyn, who came on as a sub for his dad. The two even got to have some kicks together.
Well, I'll be back with more tomorrow at 4:40. See you then.